Hi, good afternoon. I hope you're having a beautiful Friday afternoon. And hi, my name is Shivali, and I'm part of the Autism Spectrum team. Um, Today is a special day for all of us to understand and create the awareness that we're doing this particular session to create awareness around the Hearing Day. It is the World Hearing Day, 3rd of March. This day is acknowledged, and this day is in a way celebrated in a way to create awareness around hearing by the WHO. As it says, the topic of this year is ear and hearing care for all. The necessity of including ear and hearing care in routine medical treatment is highlighted by the WHO, and that's the theme of this year. Why are we talking about this on this particular day? Is because over 1.5 billion people globally are either experiencing or they're living with hearing loss. And as WHO says that by end of year 2050, the number could increase by 2.5 billion. The most alarming fact here is that more than 1 billion young adults, youngsters from the age 12 to 35 years, they are at a high risk of hearing loss. And this is not because of some congenital issue or some infection that they have acquired. It is to do with the loud noise levels that they hear in their recreational exposure to the sound. To create more awareness about this day and the event, we have our special guest here today. Her name is Rashmi Sood Anand. Rashmi is the founder of Little Impressions. She's a parent coach and a parent advocate for cochlear implant. She is one of the very aware and compassionate parents that I got a chance to come across. And without much further ado, I'd like to invite Rashmi. Hi, Rashmi. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hello, very good afternoon, Shivali. What a lovely introduction. Thank you so much for this warm welcome. I'm very well, and how are you?
All good, very excited and thankful to you that on such a short notice, you could actually create some time for us. We really wanted to talk about this issue when it comes to hearing loss or hearing impairment. So Rashmi, we know that you're the founder of Little Impressions. So, but before that, we'd like to understand your journey of exploring cochlear implant for Amishi.
Well, firstly, before I begin, Shivali, I must congratulate you to, bring this awareness session today on World Hearing Day, the most appropriate and apt day to talk about. If I talk my journey about with cochlear implant and with my daughter, it's been a 10 years old journey now. Each day is a new learning and a new progression. So if I recall the time when Amishi was born and when she was identified with hearing loss as a newborn detection or a hearing mechanisms, so that at the time of birth we got to know that Amishi is facing some challenges in terms of hearing. So as parents, definitely the world came crashing down. Needless to say, you have those emotional turmoils which you undergo. But both me and my husband, Kunal, we worked and the family worked together to seek to a solution, then to, succumb to the situation and think, why us, why me? So there began our search, and we did a lot of research. First, got clearly, Amishi tested with the experts that actually whether she has the hearing loss or not. Yes, it was confirmed. First was the acceptance of the situation. We accepted it, and then the second was, to how to go about it. So then began the search of, since the technology has moved ahead, the internet search, everything helped us to identify that, yes, there is a mechanism called cochlear implant, and by which, you can help children with congenital hearing loss get back to normal children. So we decided that we will go for Amishi's bilateral cochlear implants. So we did this here in Bangalore. She was identified with profound hearing loss, and at 14 months of age, she was bilaterally implanted. Yes, the journey had its own, ups and downs, but with the positive mindset and the goal in your mind to have your child, competing with or be with normal children, meeting their age-related milestones effectively. So I believe this early intervention helped us. So today, Amishi stands 9 years, goes to a mainstream school, as competent as any other children in her class. She articulates well in Hindi, English, and Kannada. So she's as normal as any other child is.
Okay.
So this has been our journey with cochlear implant. So I would say, yes, it takes a lot when you accept it, when the situation comes in front of you. But when you make up your mind and think that, yes, you have to go ahead and work for your child, enable the child, empower the child, and work for it. So you definitely come across those hurdles. And definitely it is, again, not an individual's work. It is always a big team effort which goes into it. So a mother will have her own role, a father will have his own role to play. The support of the family, the grandparents, the siblings, they will have their own support, and the expert team, as in the doctors, the therapists, the audiologist, under whose guidance you are working, will bring about a radical change in the child. So it is a team effort. It is never an individual's effort, but yes, early detection, early interventions really help you.
So I'd like to inform the audience who is here with us. First and foremost, thank you for joining on a Friday afternoon. We are talking about observing World Hearing Day here. So hearing loss, deafness, or hearing impairment, this is usually happening because of three major reasons. One is the congenital defect that a child is born with. The other could be an injury that may lead to loss of hearing. It could be a disease or because of a reaction of a medicine or overexposure to loud noise. And also it can be because of aging. So when it is because of aging, hearing aids can be used. When it is because of certain medication or the result of it, so there are treatments which are available there. So anybody who's experiencing hearing loss or feeling that you're experiencing loss of hearing, please do consult a specialist immediately without delaying any further. We're talking about cochlear implant here, and I must tell the audience here that it is a sound processor that is implanted inside the ear, and there's a gadget which is attached outside. We'd like to know more about the transmitter that is attached outside. Rashmi will tell us more about it. So this actually takes care of receiving of the signal, and then interpretation happens in the brain like any audio wave that happens. So Rashmi, when you explored this cochlear implant, like you were sharing with us, how was it done? You said bilateral, it was done for your daughter. And you mentioned that the team of resources were there to help you. So from that moment to taking this journey with your daughter, starting little impressions, are they two connected? And if so, how is this connected? We want to know from you.
Yes, Shivali, this is a question you've asked, which is very close to my heart. So while Amishi was, undergoing this whole process of getting implanted, then rehabilitation so the process goes like this. Once the child is operated upon and that the child starts, first they have a surgery where the implant is done inside the skull. Post, there is a gap of a month or so, and then the child starts wearing the devices, and we call it as a switch on, when the child is first time hears the sound. So that's a very overwhelming situation for family members. So from there on, then the journey actually begins of rehabilitation, because the brain was never aware of the sound, what the sound is. So there's a very systematic mechanism, or the scientific approach, which the audiologist and the therapist work together with parents to have you work systematically over the years. So over this journey, while I was hand holding Amishi, I was looking or observing very keenly, that how much efforts does it take when we are not having all our senses. We all take those what we have for granted, and we never actually care for it. But while we don't have, how much do we have to pay for it and work for it? But this journey was so encouraging in a way, of course with its own ups and downs, that I was while I was calibrating Amishi and learning with her, I noticed that if children at very young age are handled with care, with lot of interventions, with mindfulness, they turn out or they evolve very beautifully. So that was one, which the thought which gave me little impressions in my mind. Little meaning small children. Impressions means their mind is very impressionable in a way that they are going to catch, or they are going to absorb whatever good or bad is happening around them. So as parents, we need to be mindful. So there began my journey of little impressions, as I would like to say. So I started doing parenting workshops, not only for uh, children having some special needs or some challenges. I started working with parents of age group of around 2.5 years to 10 years, and I got this platform in one of Amishi's play school where she started going. So the director of the school happened to call me one day. So my thoughts were around, like, maybe they are not able to handle a child with an implant. So while I went, they asked me, what is it that how are you hand holding your child? Because we are very much impressed by the way the behavior of a child, the way she addresses with the peers and the helps in the classroom. So they were very noticeable. So I told, it's because the way the therapy goes, and I'm very mindful of everything. So that was the start of point for my little impressions, where I got the platform. I did one session for parents there, and it went really well. So thereafter there has been no looking back. Under the umbrella of little impressions, I also handhold parents whose children are about to go for cochlear implant, sharing my journey with them, so they don't feel that yes, we are the only one, hand holding them, so that they are motivated and work for for their child, empowering their child, not thinking as, oh, why to us. So this is one, and this is what my little impressions are all about.
Wow, that's in a way you were evolving as your child was growing, and you worked very mindfully, like you said, based upon Amishi's needs and requirements.
Yes.
So, to the viewers, I would again reiterate the fact that there are measures available for to rehabilitate people with hearing loss, and which includes, you can use the technologies such as hearing aids. Cochlear implant is one of them. Then there is a middle ear implant also. The use of sign language also comes in a way when you are, picking up communication, how you communicate. Speech reading is another. There are different ways in which, one can pick up make use of the technology and pick up the hearing, and it has to be done under supervision. It has to be done with the experts. The rehabs and everything are available. So please make use of, first and foremost thing is become aware, and don't just hold it to yourself. Reach out to the right people, to the experts. We are here just creating awareness about what needs to be done, what can be done. And for the young parents whose children have been diagnosed with a hearing loss or impairment, this session with Rashmi should help you understand what needs to be done, how much can a parents involvement, active engagement with the child's journey can make an impact on the child's growth. uh, Rashmi, you are a parent coach yourself. So when you interact with parents who have children, young children, as old as, like you said, 2.5 years old, uh, what do you tell them, and how do you coach them, and what are the situations that you generally come across?
So if I talk of generally coaching parents in terms of handholding children, I just tell them to be really, really mindful of very, very small things in our day-to-day life, which we always think that, a child wouldn't ignore it. Like, how and the way you will talk to your child will affect their temperament. These are simple example I can give you. Maybe a bedtime routine, a reading habit to your child, uh, how you answer them, be an active listener. What I believe is, these smaller children or these little ones are young adults. They have all flurry of emotions as we do have. Maybe their expression is not much because they don't know so many words. And always treat them as very respectable little adults, because they too get hurt, they have feelings, they have emotions which they might not be able to articulate well with us. So that is what I always tell parents. So my sessions generally revolve around subjects like reading to children, bedtime habits, how you talk to your children, then listening to your children. So these are all very, very smaller things which, working with Amishi, I learned. So to me, Amishi has been my teacher in a way that she taught me the what do you call, the thin line of uh, hand holding a child. So this is what I always tell, and I always tell parents to uh, count on your blessings. We should not ignore them. If we want to have a discussion around something serious, let the child not be there. Everything have its own impact. So that mindfulness I always talk to. And while I handhold parents who are going in for cochlear implant, I always tell them that firstly, it is a very good step that they have chosen to have the child undergo the implant or the surgery. First is identification, then is doing an early intervention, and of course after intervention is a lot of planning, which is and hard work which goes in. So the therapy, the rehabilitation should not be like once you feel that the child has started hearing, so we should end there. No, it is an ongoing process. So first 3 years are very crucial. You need to work very closely with your therapist, with your audiologist. So have the child learn all the aspects of sound, and it goes in a very scientific way. Slowly it tapers down. And also while you are talking to your child, talk to them as adults, not just not like that, whether they are like small children. Use complete language, usage of good vocabulary, words, so they will all register in their mind and will help them make formal language pattern. And as they grow, as they start speaking, keep visiting the audiologist, because with cochlear implants, because it is not normal hearing. As we grow, our hearing also changes. So there's something called mapping. So that is done in the processor, so that the child, as per the age, there are certain maps, means the certain frequency of sounds, how are they going to receive it, is mapped, because you can't just hear all sounds all together, they will not make sense. So there are particular maps that are done. So every year have those maps rechecked. Visit your audiologist, your therapist, where you think your child is not speaking to that level. They will give you interventions, they will let you know where to work on. So it's a constant journey. And never give up. And just I will not say be a superhero, because yes, we all as mothers have to work, or the family has to work. Take time, pay attention to your mental health, especially women, because mothers are at home taking care of a lot of things, career, work front. So divide amongst the family members, have the grandparents take some bit, because interaction with the extended family and the grandparents also helps develop a child in many other ways which parents might overlook. So these are the things I always tell parents. children, parents with, those who do not have children with cochlear implant, or parents with children of cochlear implants. So it's an ongoing journey, and it should be taken with a positive spirit. I always say it is again an experiential learning with your children. So I always believe learning never stops, getting better never stops. So I learn a lot from Amishi, her studies, her books, and it's a mutual learning. So enjoy that process of parenting. So that is what my little impressions and my message to parents here would be.
So you very rightly said that don't treat them like babies, treat them like people. They are the little people, the younger version of us. Maybe.
Yes.
So if we treat them like equal, they would learn to respect themselves.
Yes.
A couple of points that you mentioned, which I really want to check with you. One is cochlear implant is not a very cheap technique or a therapy or an intervention which needs to be done. So it's an expensive decision also for a parent to make. So before you make that decision, so if there are any things to consider, or if you look at a checklist for yourself, or you suggest a kind of a checklist for parents before they commit to it, what they need to do. And also I would like to understand from you about when you opted for bilateral implant, that means for both ears together. So certain I've heard this, I'm not sure, and you're the right person to talk about. Certain times parents think that let's get it done for 1 year, so at least some hearing starts happening. How does that affect? Why should you go for a bilateral?
Okay, so it's a good question. So, well, as I told you, hearing loss, if it is congenital, is detected. The first is, it's detected in the hospitals as per WHO norm. They do newborn hearing tests. So if the child is not having issue, it's clear. But yes, if it comes as a red flag, that means you need to have some intervention later on. So first, if you are identified, yes, with hearing impairment, as I said, first is acceptance. Don't be in that in that loop of thinking that okay, maybe the child is hearing, because hearing is again something which you cannot as a layman you can't judge it. Sometimes you'll feel the child is responding to you, maybe the child is responding to your facial expressions, because body language also have that the child to communicate to you. So one, have the test done, like the BERA, from a proper ENT specialist. Then once you've identified the issue, accepted it, then goes your goal setting. And as you told me, as you said, and I also know that cochlear implant is not something which is very it costs. So then goes your planning. So now it depends on, of course, as parents would want their children to have the best. So it is always better to go for bilateral, that is 2 years. But then each one has their own financial situations, because suddenly we don't anticipate anything coming like this in our lives. So we might not be prepared financially. So early intervention can happen only when you have the resources in terms of money with you. So it is again an individual's journey, how they want. So it might take you a bit of time to have that resources ready with you. So again, it depends on each parent how they want to go about it. So parents who are able to manage those resources might go for bilateral. Parents who might have difficulty initially can go for a unilateral, that is 1 implant in a year. And then later on, they can go for the second implant as and when they plan to. So second implant is also possible after a gap of few years.
So, but again, like we said in the beginning, that the best and the expert to take a decision on this regard is your ENT specialist. The team that Rashmi you were talking about, when you decide to get an implant made, the team is your pediatrician, your ENT specialist, your audiologist, your therapist, and the child also needs a lot of therapy once the implant is done, isn't it?
Yes, that's called, auditory therapy. So if we talk of the implant process, Shivali, once, the parents have decided upon how they want the child unilaterally implant or bilaterally implanted, that's their decision, because that all the major thing depends on the finances, right? So after that, they have decided upon is the surgery which is done. So once the surgery is done, that is the 20% of the journey. 80% of the journey is the rehabilitation, which, as I told you, is called auditory rehabilitation. So there, it is a very, again, I told you, it's a very step-by-step, slow process. And one needs a lot of patience and, again, positive reinforcement and that will to do it, because the results will not show immediately. It takes a while. Even I used to think whether Amishi is going to speak or not. But then a systematic approach, definitely with the help of your audiologist. In my case, my audiologist and therapist was the same person, and she really guided me well. She said, you need to put in efforts. Maybe a word had to be repeated 100 times with the child before it gets registered to a child's mind. So that's quite a tedious process. So it is systematically, so we need to be patient, we need to be systematic, we need to be planning. So I would advise mothers or the caregivers who are helping their children in the therapy to maintain a diary wherein you're able to, write what observations you've had after you've been hand holding the child at the home, because the therapist will guide you there at the clinic, but the major work is at home, how everybody is talking to the child. And you have to calibrate everybody in the family to talk in one language. That lot of, you have to do lot of interventions. You have to handhold lot of people around. You have to make sensitivity or sensitize everybody. So it is just not the parents, but the community, the society also comes in to help. So they also play a very major role. So it is a step-by-step process, patiently doing with positivity. That's again and again I'm saying, it's for mothers and the caregivers to have um, uh, again, mental health and relaxation. Go for your outing, don't miss on that. Recreation. So that is very much needed, because you then be too worked up, or you'll be just engrossed in one thing. So make a balance of it and work towards it, and definitely this kind of this will definitely have its results. I'm very sure of it.
Right. So you mentioned a couple of very important points. Mental health for caregivers is something that we have been talking about on this platform. What worked for you, Rashmi? You write very well. So I want to tell the viewers who are watching us now or will watch us later. Rashmi writes very well. She writes poetry and prose also. Some thoughts she writes, quotes she writes on parenting, and she keeps sharing this on her Facebook and LinkedIn profile. So, Rashmi, apart from, like you said, learning with Amishi, what worked for you to maintain your own well-being?
Shivali, as I told you, initially, always, none of us are superhumans. Initially, the world comes crashing down to you, and you always come into that, why me? But it's my self-motivation, my self-will, which really helped me. I always looked at the bigger picture, the bigger outcome. So I started working upon myself also. It is not that I have been always like this. I have also learned and evolved over the years. I would read, since I'm fond of reading, I would read a lot to find solace and visit friends, go for movie. So all this, visit relatives. So I never cut down on all these things. And also taking your child along, it develops a lot of social interactions. So we can't be just homebound. So learning was everywhere for me. So while we enjoyed, also was learning. So, and then again, when I learned about writing and blogging, it is again a me time and a me zone where I would just put in my thoughts. and which really would help. And they are the thoughts which are, through my own observations and surroundings. So again, very relatable to my life and things around. So which helps me to, just think and put it across in words. I don't write long articles, I write snippets. And that's every day. My day begins with writing. So these are the things, this is, each one will have their own way of having their own me time kind of a thing. And definitely when, if somebody is not able to overcome situations, I think one should go for the support system or support, external support. So it should not keep within, because that harms you. And why it is very important, because I think children take those feelings. So for your child to be happy, it is very important that we showcase those traits in us. Not all the time, yes, those values. So again, mindfulness is what I will always do.
That's right. And that takes us to the last question, and the very organic question, that what should be the role of community when it comes to support a parent whose child is going through, rehab for hearing impairment in this case?
So Shivali, as I told you, it is not only a single person's work. It is again a team effort. So while your child undergoes this surgery and then the rehabilitation process start, your family and your friends and the whole community plays a very important role. Firstly, as parents, what we did was we sensitized people around us. Firstly, the family members, because we all had to be on the same page to be interacting with the child. Maybe like for a hearing impaired children, since I have an experience, if you have to teach them that aeroplane goes like this, up, up, that sound. So I would, Amishi's grandparents or Amishi's bua, mama, all your family members, I would teach, let them. So while, elders love to play with children sitting, so they would do this, the same. So it is just not on the mother which the works come on to. The whole, everybody is doing. And while we would go to in the play area, again, the friends, the mothers, the friends, I had sensitized them. I never felt ashamed that my child will be wearing an implant, because that's what at times we feel. Oh, the world will see they're wearing it. Oh, they will get to know that she doesn't hear. I always took it in my stride. I always took in the child's stride. And both for me and Kunal, we always took this. And we sensitized the mothers around. And if you see that Amishi is not wearing the implant, just let me know. I sensitized her friends. Now also the playgroup friends, I made them monitors. Some of them I've made them monitors. See if Amishi's implant is elsewhere, or you are the monitor to check. So they feel so, they feel responsible about it. Maybe the child had a fall, they will all come together. So as the friends will come together and help the child, oh, she had a fall, let me see that, the implant is in place. So there's an indication where the implant is working fine. There's a green light which is blinking. So I'll tell them that sometimes the child might be careless, but I have sensitized. So the school, we have sensitized. It's not that, she's very normal as any other child, but yes, we have handholded teachers on that. We have handholded her class teacher, other subject teachers, friends. Why? So it's all very normal. Because people the community is aware, so they don't empathize, but they are watchful in a positive way that they're going to help the child. So that is what some people, the other day I heard one of the children were asking Amishi, why do you wear this? Why are you wearing this implant? So since I was around, so I said, why some of us wear specs? So the child quickly gave me the answer, because we can see better. So I said, yeah, so she's wearing this because she can hear better. And now the child also is able to answer back, answer positively that, yes, that is why I wear it. So it helps me hear.
It's so right. It's so important to put things in the right perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the role of the community is here.
Yeah.
How you sensitize them is, or you look at the flip side of it. If you want to hide your child, oh, people are coming, let's hide your ears. No, let the child be confident of what the child is wearing, because it's an important part of her personality.
Right. So well, beautifully said there. And a lot of takeaways from Rashmi's session for parents, caregivers. Please look after yourself. Tell things in the right perspective, the things that need to be told. Sensitize the surroundings. And like we have this buddy up project, which we are slowly and gradually working and picking up paces. Wherever that the child needs support, create that support around the child, be it in the park, in the play areas, be it at home with your own family and relatives, be it in the school or in the malls, shopping malls, hospitals, and offices, wherever that a person needs support. So let's create that support. And like we always say, it takes a village to raise a child. So let's all be that village. And on this special day, when we are all talking about sensitizing, about caring for your ears, our youngsters are using a lot of headphones these days, and because they're wearing headphones, the people who are sitting next, they cannot understand what is the sound level of what they're listening to, and sometimes that actually damages. And what we have seen the data in the beginning of this session, that the youngsters are really getting their hearing affected. So requesting all parents and all those people who are watching it now with us to please look after your ear so you hear better. In case if you need help, please reach out to the experts. There are a lot of people who will be able to guide you better. Our job today with Rashmi was to create an awareness about a lot can be done, a lot is being done, and we are very fortunate in this era when the technology is there for almost everything. So all we need to do is explore possibilities, accept it, and just move on. There's a lot of support system which is around in terms of the occupational therapists and the other rehabs which are available. Make use of that, make use of the time that we all have on this planet. And thank you so much, Rashmi, for joining us today and creating time for us on such short notice. But this was really important that we hear from you today.
Thank you so much, Shivali. Thank you so much for this platform today and making this awareness. There are a lot of people who are also phenomenally doing wonderful work in these areas. So one should also get connected to find out and connected to those support groups that really helps. So one is this also I wanted to mention. Lovely talking to you. Lovely to be on this platform, sharing.
Thank you so much, and look after yourself. And thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day and the weekend.
Wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.